Hello chess friends and welcome to your Out of Chess channel and welcome to a beautiful game that I think could be very useful in your home preparation against the Smith-Morra Gambit with the black pieces. Today I wanted to show you the most powerful chess engine in the world, Stockfish 16.1, playing against another top engine, Superultra, with the black pieces against this quite annoying opening. I think many of us were bothered by the Smith-Morra Gambit. I had my issues myself. I couldn't find sometimes the best progressive ideas how to defend the Smith-Morra Gambit, because in the beginning white is giving up of course a pawn, but then creates really a wild attacking formation, so really unpleasant opening to handle. But I think this game that I wanted to show you today could be really your game changer in your preparation in the Sicilian defense. So let's dive now into the game. Let's see now how Stockfish handles the Smith-Morra Gambit. So with the white pieces here, e4 was played by Superultra. Stockfish responsible to the Sicilian. Now we have the Smith-Morra Gambit immediately with the move d4, c takes d4, and now comes this progressive idea by white. White is giving up another pawn just in order to get to this knight into the game to activate the pieces, and now also the d file is cleared. White will have a really fast development with the minor pieces and is of course creating very dynamic attacking opportunities in the later stage of the game. Stockfish continues with normal development. Also Superultra of course develops the knight. We have now the move d6 and now bishop to c4 with the preparation in some lines to play queen to b3 and hit simply the weak pawn on f7. Stockfish continues with a6, and now I've seen many times white is giving up in some, I don't know, blitz bullet games, this bishop for pawn, but don't worry, even if you get attacked like this, you have always this opportunity, king to e7, you can hide here behind this pawn, then kick away maybe the light later the knight with the move h6, and I think you would solve all of the tactical and positional problems in the game. So that's why bishop to f7 would be a rushed move, but sometimes has been played, and as I said, in blitz bullet game. So castling here played by Superultra. Stockfish develops now normally the knight. If e5 happens now, it's also knight so dangerous. After a couple of trades of queens here, black will get of course also the pawn on e5, but white lost the pawn in the beginning, will simply play bishop to e6, compete against this annoying piece here, and maybe after bishop to e6, knight to e6, again black should be much better. So that's why after knight to f6 here, Superultra continues with the normal development, prepares now this aggressive move e5. Stockfish continues with bishop to g4, battles now for the e5 square in a different way, pins of course the knight here on f3, because the knight on f3 is controlling of course also the e5 square. We have an attack against the bishop. Stockfish trades off now the bishop for a knight, and after queen to f3 now comes a very cool but also calm move by the fish, e6. This move is in some lines preparing d5 if necessary, or also the move e5 if the position is allowing you. So here rook from f to d1, played by Superultra, putting more pressure against the pawn on d6, but now a very cool move again by the fish, knight to d7. If, for instance, bishop to d6 is played here by white, then we can simply play bishop to d6, rook to d6, and then you play a very nice move, knight to e5. The queen has to retreat in order to defend the bishop, and now you play queen to c7, double attack against the rook and the bishop. The rook is forced now to play on a strange move, and now you continue with simply kingside castling. If f4 happens, then you have knight to c6, then you get this one. If the bishop retreats to d3, you can pick up the pawn on f4, because the rook is not attacking that anymore. If the bishop retreats here to b3, then you have this one, knight to c5, and again here bishop, the queen is hanging, attacking the pawn on f4. The bishop is twice attacked, so not a good continuation anymore here for white. So after move knight to d7, that's why Superultra put more pressure against this pawn on d6, but now Stockfish locks out now the diagonal, plays now knight to e5, we have bishop to e2, and now h6. Stockfish is trying here also to break and enter with the move g5. We have h4, Superultra is not allowing that, and now rook to c8, bringing now a new piece into the game, also in some lines targeting maybe the c4 weakness, hoping maybe to force a trade of bishop for a knight here around the square c4. We have bishop to e3 by Superultra, preparing even the move f4, but now comes, I think, the first really, I would say, critical moment of the game in which many of us would not play the game like this, like Stockfish did here. Stockfish plays now the amazing g5. Stockfish is not allowing the move f4 to happen, and I think this is, as I said, a certain game changer by Stockfish, because You see now the whole game will be a battle around the square f4. Look how the game by Stockfish is beautiful, how Stockfish is not allowing this move f4 to happen now by white. Of course, Superultra took now, Stockfish takes out also now the pawn on g5, bishop to g5 comes with a direct threat against the queen, but now bishop to e7. And you see now, if for instance f4 happens here, this is not possible because of this line. Queen to f2, you have to cover, and then rook to h1 deflects now the king from the defense of the queen. Game over already here for white. For instance, if you try here bishop to e7 to trade off the bishops, then we can play a beautiful king to e7. And actually, believe me or not, black is even slightly better here. After queen to g5, we can cover with our knight. And now maybe if you try f4 again, the same problems are happening. Queen to b6 simply wins the game. So that's why maybe rook from a to c1 can be played, but now we can play something like this, build even, I think, a beautiful battery on the h file, and I guarantee you white will not have fun in this particular game. So really, let's go back here. Really beautiful move by Stockfish, bishop to e7. Seems strange that you gave up now the pawn around the square g5. Seems strange that you're giving up your bishop, but now I think black is facing, as I said, many position and tactical problems. So that's why here Superultra retreated to f4. Stockfish continues now with rook to c6. Beautiful move, controlling, of course, further the d6 square. Now Superultra makes maybe even its first tiny little inaccuracy. Stockfish doesn't like this move by Superultra. Stockfish says that you should continue with bishop to d2 and hope somehow maybe finally to play the move f4. But then white would simply continue with bishop to f6. If you try again f4, would be very dangerous because queen to b6, bishop to e3 can be played, but now you lose the battle around the square b2. So here you should play then maybe queen to e3, but then b5, and again black should be slightly better. Maybe in some lines we can play around the square c4. Look at this, really huge weakness in white's camp. A hole, simply b3 is almost impossible because you're opening up the diagonal for the dark square bishop. So maybe playable for white here, but I would love always now to play this game more from black's perspective. So here after move rook to c6, as we said, queen to e3 played by Superultra. Stockfish continues now with an attack against the bishop on f4, and the cool part is that we have already played the move rook to c6. Now the d6 square is protected. Bishop to h6, bishop to f8. Again, Stockfish is hoping to trade off the pieces and hopes to get some kind of a battery on the h file where the king could be in danger. And the most interesting part of this game is that Stockfish is playing the whole game without castling, without securing the king by castling. Really wild stuff. So bishop to g5, Stockfish attacks now the bishops, bishop retreats, and now finally knight to f4. After queen to f4, we have a knight to e5. Again, Stockfish is saying, I'm occupying the center. I have maybe some weaknesses here, but of course, bishop to h5 is not possible. And we have now three very mobile pawns. The knight is well placed. And again, there are some opportunities maybe through this diagonal to attack a white king, or again, maybe to build this beautiful queen and rook battery on the h file, or maybe if necessary, build a rook and rook here battery on the h file. Really flexible, beautiful flexible play here for black. So Superultra continues with queen to g3, prepares now the move f4 again. As we said, it's a whole battle for this f4 square, and Stockfish continues now with a very interesting idea. Rook to c7, once again to build this an amazing attacking formation on the h file. But now, of course, the whole concept with queen to b6 is not working because now the rook is standing in the way, because we saw before when you push the pawn on f4, then queen to b6 was always a dangerous idea. And now when the rook is standing in the way, actually Superultra fell for this and played now the move f4 anyway. But again, f4 is not working. This is now the beautiful part of the game. Here again, Stockfish suggests that you should play a calm move. Again, slightly better for black, but you should not rush with this f4 move. But Superultra played now the move f4, and Stockfish played an amazing counterattack in the center of the board with the move d5. Very wild stuff. You cannot take, obviously, because of bishop to c5. You have to maybe step back with the king, and then a rook to h1 is even a checkmate. If you want to not get checkmated, you have to cover with the queen. But again, I would say game over here for white. Really wild stuff. So d5, great counterplay in the center by the fish. We have now knight to a4 by Superultra, and now rook to g7, hitting the queen. Queen drops back, and now knight to g6, putting more pressure here around the square f4. Also, as we mentioned, hope to get some kind of an activity on the h file, and this is already a very dangerous position now to handle for Superultra. So after knight to g6, here f5 was played by Superultra, trying to get rid of this knight. You could maybe try to force a trades of queens, but look at this again. The same problems are happening. The bishop can always also get on this diagonal. So again, game over it would be for black. So that's why f5. We have now knight to h4, hitting now also the g2 weakness. Superultra is forced to play now the move g4, and now queen to b8. Look how Stockfish is controlling the dark squares all over the board. Now Stockfish is searching for opportunities through the other diagonal, so it's almost impossible now to defend this position for white. So what should you do? Even if you try, see, I don't know, maybe rook to c1, then there is this problem, as we said. Battery, h-file attack, game over for white. You're trying maybe f takes e6. Then we have this one liberating simply the long diagonal. If you take, of course, the knight, then there is a check. Then maybe this other rook can come into the game. The queen will come on h2. So again, a game over. You have to play something like bishop to f3, but now rook to h2. You can cover. Now we can even take. Look at this, how crazy this position is. Now the knight is coming. You're trying maybe something like this. Look at it. You simply continue the attacking flow, and I would say, again, game over here for white. The queen is coming. The rook is coming. Really crazy position for black. So after queen to b8, that's why Superultra tried e takes d5, but Stockfish continues now with a beautiful knight to f5. Really cool move. You cannot take because of the rook activity through the g file. If you try something like d takes e6 here, it doesn't matter. Then we get again the battery. You're trying bishop to f3. Now again attack the queen, and again with the same pattern. We sacrifice the piece, then the queen is coming. You have to cover. Rook to h1. We have seen already this pattern, deflecting the queen, deflecting the king from the defense of the queen. I don't know, king to g2. It can be met again with rook to h2, and again it would be game over. So that's why for knight to f5, here bishop to f3 immediately by Superultra, but now rook to h4. We have now rook to d3, and now a rook from the g file attacks now the king through the g file on g4. What should you do? Here Superultra accepts the challenge, but now Stockfish plays rook to g4. Notice now that the knight is also lined up down the fourth rank. So here after king to h1, Stockfish took now the piece and has now completely the winning endgame. Stockfish has now 2 minor pieces for the rook. Here Superultra continues with rook to h3, queen to e5, good centralizing move by the fish, rook to e1, but now queen to d5, and here queen to g2 was played, and Stockfish decided to simplify the game, trading off the queens. Game over after king to g2, king to d7. Here in this particular position, Superultra resigned. So what should you do? Even if you deliver a check, we can always cover, going into 2 minor piece and versus rook endgame, but of course Stockfish has 2 connected passers, so it would be also game over. You could maybe try here, I don't know, to play after king to d7, rook to h7, delivering a different kind of a check, but then again bishop to e7 solves all of the tactical problems. Again, if you try to attack through the d file, still we have a rook to d4 as a resource. So fair design, I would say, here by Superultra. So an amazing game, I would say, by Stockfish in the Smith-Morra Gambit. Really interesting stuff, really instructive stuff, really a nice approach. We saw Stockfish played here without castling, so maybe there's something for you. Maybe this could be your home preparation. Of course, white and black can play differently the game, but I think as a cornerstone, as your first idea how to play against the Smith-Morra Gambit, this could be really your beautiful home preparation. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting ideas of the Smith-Morra Gambit from black's perspective. If you want to see more beautiful, sharp, attacking, brutal, brilliant chess like this, check out our Come to Chess Games Play by Computer series with some more games played by Stockfish, Alpha Zero, Lila Zero, and many more. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.